Hello, hello, my astrology friends. This is Lada from AstroladaOfficial, and today my guest is Sidereal Babylonian astrologer Trifon Nikolov, who will update us on the month.
Hello,
Sorry.
my astrology friends. This is
This is
Lada
live.
from AstroLada.
I need to stop the other video. And February, Trifon, hello.
Hello, everyone. A little bit, couple of days into the month, but still we have a lot to say about this shortest month of the year, right?
Shortest but
And
happening.
what?
Shortest but quite happening, or
Eventful, for sure, and especially from the point of view of celestial events. Well, you already know the speculation about the aligning of the planets. That they're talking all about it on the newspapers. Well, but it's not so much according to astrology like that, because
no,
the
different.
planets will be not visible, all of them. Yeah, but they will be above the horizon in certain moments. But it does not seem to be so much like an astrological thing, at least not according to the ancient text, of course. This can be only because of lack of ancient texts and understanding, right? So, however, there are many important things going on. Like, for example, I heard that the island of Santorini in Greece is shaking with this huge volcano that supposedly destroyed the Minoan civilization 36th century ago, actually, 36 centuries ago. And the scientists are writing that a big eruption can happen only once in 20,000 years. So I did not have time to make like big research, which is very difficult about that. But people calling me from the Balkans, basically, they must have had some really bad aspects if it is something like that would have happened right now. And I don't think so. So there can be potentially strong earthquake, but not something so destructive as in the ancient past, right? This is my opinion, just to say, right? I know people are running from the island. This may have reasons, but it's not like so destructive, I think, because the thing that happened 36 centuries ago destroyed entire civilizations, even the Egyptian pharaoh. Potentially, one of the writings on a stela are describing such events like that half of the pyramids and the tombs were destroyed by some natural disaster around that time.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so this would have been a big thing, but I don't think it's now. Only an opinion based on that I don't see everyone calling me from the area having very dangerous aspects for this year, right?
Based on the people,
Based on the people, yes. Otherwise, everyone should have really bad aspects this year. This happens also in wars. If there will be a war in country, for example, suddenly all the people have some really challenging, very difficult aspects for this year, difficult cycles. I have seen this in the horoscopes and cycles of people in the times of wars in their countries.
Oh, by the way, I wanted to say if anyone wants to have a personal horoscope with Trifon for the year ahead, it's usually $300, but Trifon is offering it for the next 2 weeks just for $199, so more than 30% off. If you'd like to connect with him, I'll put the link below in the description if you'd like a private personal reading. So back to you. Sorry, I got to say this.
So this was just to address something from the news, which looks like really interesting and related to ancient disasters of the biggest kind possible. But let's now focus on the month. Even USA only is interesting enough. Now USA is shaking, the world is shaking all the time. In part, in part This is related in part with the transit of Pluto, by the way. One of the possible explanation in astrology is the transit of Pluto. Pluto right now is moving in Capricorn in the first degrees. And with this transit of Pluto, well, of course, I mean sidereal signs, you know. If you are follower of Western astrology used tropical signs, you will think that Pluto is in Aquarius. Well, this is not the case according to the ancient astrology and according to the any astronomical app that you can use to watch the sky. You'll see that Pluto actually is not in Aquarius still. So, but he is approaching the stars of Capricorn and already is considered to be in the sidereal sign of Capricorn. And this corresponds to deep changes in the world of power, like Capricorn represents control, right? Control, potentially in the bad side, oppression, in the good side, organization, effectiveness. And so Pluto brings this deep transformation, but also this can be, of course, there can be flaws, there can be even dangers in the process, as Pluto has two sides. One of them is to live according to the true laws of life and nature, but the bad side is potentially to use the resources in whatever way fit for someone.
Yeah,
so
it's
Pluto
kind
is
of
something to be careful for.
It's kind of predatory energy as well.
It can be, but yeah, it should be definitely watched carefully. And right now, however, Pluto is approaching one fixed star. Basically, already is in exact conjunction since the last couple of days.
Yeah, I'm starting
I
to laugh.
think we can feel this, right? Yeah, so there is some interesting articles on the internet. You can find some of this, how countries are related to different symbols, and that actually those symbols are related to certain constellations in the sky. Like the symbol of Russia is a bear, and they look like connected to this constellation, and so on for different countries. But finally, about USA, the main symbol is an eagle, and interestingly enough, we have an eagle constellation in the sky called Aquila in Latin. This is the same eagle potentially that is punishing Prometheus in the ancient Greek legends.
Oh, that's eating his liver.
Yes, that is eating his liver, but there are also other symbols. In the ancient text, this constellation is related to war and to victory in war. Yeah, but also symbol of the eagle is a symbol of the USA. And basically, when especially in the current times, once it was not like that, but in the current times, a couple of decades already, I think, the inaugurations of the new US presidents are happening when the sun is not far away from the stars of this constellation.
Oh, it's always around the 20th of January. The sun is around Altair, the star in Aquila.
Yeah, the main star of the constellation Aquila, Altair. So it's one of the 30 most brightest stars in the sky, so one of the powerful ones. Right? But it's related to war and in general to power, right? And the ancient texts are writing that it can be, first of all, related to victory in war, but also it can be related to certain powerful people coming to power and becoming more aggressive, more controlling. This constellation can show such type when it is in a bad sense, a little bit, right? And in addition, it's the symbol of USA, and Pluto going now right with the main star of this constellation shows, as Pluto is symbol of transformation, evolution, but also deep crisis potentially. And usually those things are always mixed. Like there is, in order to have deep transformation and change, you have usually a big crisis first to trigger the need of this. And obviously, I believe this is what is going on. So Pluto can be using power in political ways without any means, like even without morality sometimes. This is one of the things. On the other hand, if used in the proper ways, Pluto is an empowering, definitely.
But I see that my Republican side of the family in America, they feel empowered. Finally, we're getting our power back. My liberal family in America, they feel like they are being abused, and they feel like it's big crisis. So you can feel both.
Yes. Both things can be felt right now. So Pluto, however, is also known for his reputation of being fatal somehow. Like the changes that are happening under the influence of Pluto can be um, not they cannot be turned back. So it is like inevitable and potentially fatal change. So everyone should be very careful actually what's going on for the bad side. So there is a good and there is a bad side. Potentially, the cycle of Pluto is around 250 years, and this coincides with the interesting times of the American Revolution long ago, more or less, which were definitely, some are saying it was a revolution based on war for taxes. Pluto is related to taxes and for using resources of society, because Pluto signifies, Scorpio signifies the resources belonging to the whole. This means, of course, taxes, insurances, etc. So I guess this is one of the big things. The new president being Taurus, he's definitely focused on the financial matters. It's natural for him, but he also is born on a full moon in Scorpio. So he is quite Plutonian guy as well. And so there are reasons for concerns and there are reasons for hope. Much greater attention for the political processes in this country, in USA, and in the world is needed when Pluto is with the star. The worst that can happen is that someone with mad desire of power and ready to use military force in a very strong way, but also bad ways, can be in power. Pluto can be like that.
Do you think Trump is someone willing to go into a war, looking at his chart with Mars on the ascendant? Or because in Western astrology he's a Gemini, I think he's more like a trade wars rather than or money wars, Taurus, with Sidereal astrology.
As already mentioned, many of the wars are financially motivated.
Mm-hmm.
Many of them, you can say, sometimes even almost all of them. I can bring like countless examples, like Rome attacking Dacia because of her golden mines, or even in part the American Revolution being fought because of the high taxes from the British imperialists. So every war has some financial aspect, or even the Bulgarian King Simeon fighting war for trade rights with the Byzantine Empire 11 centuries ago, from history of Bulgaria. But so in general, there is some strong financial background always with wars, various aspects. So Taurus has this star called Aldebaran, the nature of Jupiter and Mars, which is a star of leadership, and part of its nature is Mars. Jupiter and Mars means that he can be aggressive also, right? The sidereal sign Taurus, if needed. And so we can see like financial wars now, but in longer terms, having in mind that Donald Trump has Mars rising in his chart, especially if challenged, he will be very fast to react. He proved this the last time. There was some poisonous gas attacks in Syria. and he was the fastest reacting US president to such type of violence they have seen, because literally on the next day he ordered rocket attacks on the guilty ones. So we already know that he can be very fast in responding. Mars rising definitely is a warrior position, so everyone who tries to challenge him has to know that he will react in a strong way, I'm sure. That's why he is always saying that the war in Ukraine would have never happened if I was the president, etc. But anyway, I'll not focus too much on his horoscope, but Pluto, with the main star of the eagle, the symbol of USA, shows deep, powerful crisis, transformation, and maybe fatal changes if the society is not careful. It is this is how I can interpret it. Of course, Pluto is always like that. Pluto always brings some critical and dangerous things, and always empowers and makes deep change, transformation. Later, after this, things are completely different. So let's hope the karma, if you say, is a good one. Personally, I believe in the power of the democracy. But of course, behind it are actually people. So
Oh,
think this year. And right now, Pluto with the star of war. So Pluto either can deepen the situation on the military level and make it inevitable and fatal. So I guess the world leaders should be careful now not to go in such a way, even unwillingly, in their political actions that is already predestined to lead to fatal consequences in the future. Right. I can say even Pluto, we know the word plutonium is also related to the name of the planet. Pluto is with the star of war. I don't think that this is a sign much of peace. Pluto with this star shows danger, greater danger, I think, of empowering nuclear weapons and potentially using them. So the situation is actually becoming more difficult in the world of nuclear competition and potential use of this type of weapons. Pluto with the star of war. Yeah, and I think everyone can see that the important countries are trying to build up their arsenal right now. So, well, in the future months and years, I have a lot to say, but little by little. So, I guess enough for now for Pluto.
but what was that? The sex scandal you told me about at the beginning. Is it not?
Yeah.
Okay, that's something else. Okay.
This is potentially something else, but by the way, it's coming from some other astrological combinations. But of course, Pluto is with the star that is symbolizing the symbol of USA, right? And Pluto is related, to sexuality. So we can say that this can be definitely a sign of some greater sexual scandal going on in USA. We know that this is true, but the Pluto being there can show that this will be happening in very powerful way and happening on the top of the government somehow.
And by the way, Pluto will be on this degree for the next year and a half. It will come back to it later this year and move forward. So it's not just February.
It's a process, yes, but now is the first time.
Yeah.
Okay, well, you're interested in the sex scandal. Let's go then to this. Okay. So there are some specific positions that are triggering this. Just a moment to remind myself. So there are various things going on. Yeah, so this is happening around the 24th of February. So the sexual candle meaning from the ancient text comes from Mars turning direct on the 24th of February. We know that Mars is also considered in the ancient times the ruler of Scorpio. And it is related, it is the planet of sexual energy and actions, etc. Many ways. And it is turning in that time in the sidereal sign and constellation of Gemini. But the ancient texts are saying that when he's turning in this way, the meaning will be that it shows the unnatural desires of the king. Well, who is this king? We don't know, but should be someone who is having immense power over his country, behaving like a dictator or being a dictator or being literally a king. So we will know exactly who is this potentially around the 24th. The influence of this station of Mars begins 7 days earlier. So we can say this combination becomes important already on the 17th February. Well, probably the first time that the ancient texts are talking about sex scandals on the higher levels of rulership. So, well, it's coming. It's coming. Maybe if someone knows more, the last time that Mars probably have done this position was like 15 years ago, like 2010. And then another 15 earlier, around 1995. If someone knows such things around that time, can write in the comments. So sexual scandals with the king, the unnatural, they are saying, unnatural desires of the king. So he will be not like between, this will be not like between men and women, I guess. And so, potentially big scandal. Well, having in mind that numerous already sex scandals has been revealed in USA, and some of them reach high on the top of society. So, well, we don't know what to expect here, but definitely we have seen some things already. We know that they may reach high. I mean, I talk about Epstein case, for example, Puff Diddy case recently. This is only in USA, however, it can be also in other countries. Interesting month, right? Scandalous. I'm sure that this is also a sign that in general, such type of troubles, sexual scandals can be happening on the top of governments in general, having this meaning. Gemini is also a sign of communication. Mars, the planet of sexuality, sexual energy, so we can see the logic here. There can be much talk about this, obviously. And so, however, Mars turning also has other meanings, right? Mars turning on the 24th of February means that the people ruled by Mars will have better time. Those having rising Scorpio and Aries in sidereal signs. Western astrology considers them usually to be Taurus and Sagittarius, right? So those people will see the beginning of better period until August, until like the last days of August is their time. After that, we'll talk again. So, also some comments about what happened with all those crashes going on lately. I mean, for example, the accident in Washington, the River Potomac. Many people have died, so planes and helicopters falling from the sky lately. I predicted in earlier video but this video was in Bulgarian a couple of days ago. I predicted there will be more right immediately after the accident in Washington. I predicted there will be more, and immediately it happened. This is because I actually checked, is there a connection between certain cycles and greater probability of airplane crashes in certain years in USA especially, and I have found it that what I thought to be true actually, that in certain years related to certain cycles, which I will not disclose now, but usually there are more crashes, and this is such a year. So let's just say this is only the beginning of having some more accidents. So I guess there will be like 2 or maybe even 3 more crashes this year happening somewhere in USA. So I guess this year is a year when people need to know better the good dates for traveling. Yeah, have this in mind. Also, why this happened? Why, from astrological point of view, not only because of this cycle that I'm mentioning, but also why, how the sky shows that there are accidents right now. For example, in those days, exactly, literally almost the same day when the crash in Washington happened, Uranus, which is the modern planet of flying, modern astrology planet related to this, Uranus was turning direct. It was making a station. And at the same time, he was, and still he is, aspected by Saturn and Mars. Uranus is in Aries, Mars in Gemini rules it and aspects it, and Saturn in Aquarius also aspects it. Sextile aspects, both sides. So this station of Uranus with those dangerous aspects and associations happened to show this disaster. So, however, this year there will be also other stations. But luckily, they will be not in Aries anymore. Still, however, the moments of the turns of Uranus obviously should be observed with attention and probably not to fly exactly in that time. Well, in the future videos, I will say when exactly Uranus will make such movements. And so, this is in part the explanation. There are also other things, but let's just stop here. I will say that also this is a month of very positive changes actually in the sky. So even though I already talked about Pluto, about Uranus, and you already heard that they can have some bad meanings as well, but Jupiter and Venus this month are making big changes, and they actually already did it. What I mean, Jupiter also turned direct, literally yesterday. So he was changing motion 3rd, 4th of February. So what does this mean? It means that there will be more understanding, better ability to see truth, more influence of things like morality and principles. Basically, when Jupiter turns direct, it means that the good karma becomes powerful. And I mean that not so much on the mundane events, right? But I mean in literally on very private level for everyone's horoscope. Jupiter rules 2 areas of the horoscope for each and every one of us. And when he turns direct, it means he opens the door for positive events and good developments. So he will be now in this good position long time, months and months. And this is actually the time when we can achieve various things that we have been trying to achieve, but were not able to do since October, because since October, Jupiter was retrograde. So we will be able to see the truth now better, whatever this means, and to act accordingly, and to be more successful, be more happy in general. Like, for example, the places where Jupiter is transiting, we're always expecting that Jupiter will bring some great fortune in the specific area of life. However, he is not able to do so while retrograde. Now, wherever he is in your chart in transit, he is now opening the gate for fortunate developments. So for whoever has it in the second house, money, in the fifth house for someone else, love and pleasure, and in the 10th house for somebody else, career progress, and so on and so forth. So this is actually a month of positive change. So, however, in the chart of USA and all the countries related to Taurus, because he makes a station in Taurus, right? If you don't believe Jupiter is in Taurus, look with an astronomical up in the sky tonight. Actually, you can look with your eyes open around 10 p.m. You see Jupiter close to a bright reddish colored star, which is called Aldebaran, the eye of the bull. So you can see it literally close to the main star of Taurus, in the center of the sign. And so, if you remember, around a year ago, I commented about the ingress of Jupiter into Taurus with the words of an ancient clay tablet from Mesopotamia, and they were writing that when Jupiter is in Taurus, the treasury of the kingdom will be emptied. I wonder if you see what's going on now. The treasury of the kingdom will be emptied. So just so many financial resources were just cut off for many countries, those flowing from USA. And I wonder what is going on with USA itself. Now, this final movement of Jupiter will be until the 19th of May, when he will turn into the next sign, Gemini. And I wonder if this emptying of the treasury is not about to happen right in those months. Jupiter turning direct now can show the truth about financial matters also, and this is also a good thing, right? Because it will allow us to see the real situation, and I think this is also happening now.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Because there are various revelations all the time about those matters, right, in this moment. And so the omen of the treasury being emptied is happening now, but there is probably also need of greater attention into it. However, my opinion is that because Jupiter always shows the truth, he will be just showing what is going on, and later there will be some progress. If you remember, this year is related to the sign Taurus. I commented about this in the video for 2025. This year in history, in the history of this cycle that happens this year, but also happened back in 1965 and long ago in other years in the history, it is associated with great financial developments.
The USA just announced yesterday that they'll become the capital of crypto, or the center of crypto, that they'll be implementing cryptos, all the banks, and tokenizing everything, the internet, the value they call it. So some big changes financially will be happening.
Okay, and also I mentioned that the European Union, the last time when this cycle happened, was actually unifying its powers on financial industrial level to become stronger. And also the same was true for USSR back in the day. So basically, Europe and Asia also will undergo such processes. So it will be everywhere. This actually proved later to be mostly good for the world, I believe. as a consequence, however, not in the same year. And so, this is about Jupiter. Jupiter is in general beneficial now for us, but because he is turning station in Taurus, where he acts as a lord of the 8th house. Remember, Taurus is, if you accept it as the first sign, like rising one, then 8th house will be Sagittarius. So then this turning of Jupiter can bring changes through crisis and transformation as part of the process.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously not so easy in the beginning, but then positive changes. Jupiter related to Taurus also rules the 11th sign, Pisces. Pisces means the 11th sign always is related to better results and more freedom. So this is actually another particular result of Jupiter turning now for the world and in general for everyone a little bit more. And so let's see what else is going on.
Can I ask you? They just said that Palestinians have to be moved out of Palestine and they'll build like a luxury thing in Gaza. Is it showing like Palestine will be Pisces, wouldn't it? According to ancient astrology, the lands of Palestine. Why would if they do this, where would those people go? I mean, like, how does it show in the sky? What do you think will happen?
Obviously, this is a business project, right?
Okay.
So, but what happens with Palestine? Well, in this part of the world, wars has never stopped since immemorial times.
Why is that?
Because the area is related to Mars, actually.
Oh,
In the ancient text, it's either ruled by Scorpio or by Aries, those lands.
it's not Pisces.
No, not Pisces. Pisces is in other places, like Northwest Africa, for example, is related to Pisces, like Morocco, for example. But the lands of Mesopotamia, Syria, Israel, big parts of Turkey, and in general, this area there, even the Arabian countries,
Scorpio.
they are considered to be Scorpio. And I have seen for especially this area, Israel, Palestine, etc., also Aries in the ancient text. So this is Mars ruled. When Mars is ruling, you should be strong on spiritual level in order not to go into big conflicts and wars. And if you are not, then you fall into the whirlwind of conflicts. And of course, the karma resulting, which will dictate more conflicts and more conflicts. And
So don't
this is
get
it.
born in Scorpio areas, guys. That's the moral of the story.
Yeah, so if they don't like give like some true resolution involving true spiritual human values, then they just wait for the next cycle to come of violence one day.
Mm.
Yeah. Well, I have looked at the horoscope of Israel. Basically, decisive events related to their territory and their government are coming slowly, but later and towards the end of the year. And I believe this is a very like sensitive time for what they're doing for their country. They should be really careful.
Mm.
So let's see what else. Let's see what else. So many things to choose from. I said Jupiter and Venus made positive changes, and I explained about Jupiter, but I did not explain about Venus. What's going on with Venus? Venus just became exalted this month. She entered the Sidereal sign and constellation of Pisces. And Venus in Pisces is the best Venus. So the news is that Venus will stay here a long time. She will be basically in Pisces until, with only a couple of days going back into Aquarius in the meantime, somewhere in April. But she will be in Pisces until June. So this is like 4 months. 4 months of exalted Venus. Exalted Venus. This brings hopes for peace, by the way. Because Venus is the planet of harmony and peace, right? But of course, there will be much more efforts and the chances are better. However, in April, she will be with Saturn. We'll see how this will work. On personal level, however, for the world and for every one of us, this is mostly good. Venus also rules 2 houses in the chart for everyone. Her exalted state means we'll have better results for every one of us in those houses and the places that she rules. So basically, she will, like Jupiter, influence 4 houses of the chart, 2 that she rules, well, 3 houses actually, 2 that she rules, and another one that she transits potentially, right? So, well, 2 for her actually, 2, because she's in her own sign. So, in and if I accept even the aspects, even more. So basically, each planet, like Jupiter and Venus, aspects couple of houses, which is to say, in the end, the calculation shows most of the chart will be influenced by Jupiter and Venus in more positive ways. So this is actually a rare event, and it is hopeful that we'll have better times. I know that it does not look exactly like this, looking from the news, but on personal level, at least, there is a good chance for this. Definitely. Also, people ruled by Venus, those having Libra rising, Taurus rising in Sidereal, and Gemini and Scorpio in Western astrology, they will have better state and in general being more successful. Better health even is good for everything. Again, like in the case with Jupiter, all this is lasting until around June. So probably we can say that this period is in a way the best time of the year. Anyways. Starting now till June. Well, basically, as Jupiter and Venus are improving this month, we cannot say this is the month of the most positive changes for the year. Which is again not looking like this, but this is how the planets are showing it. Interesting. So obviously there are some positive things going on. So because of this, we can say that this is one good month mostly. Not for everyone though. There are 2 things that will be going on also. Rising of Mercury and setting of Saturn this month. Rising of Mercury. They happen almost at the same time. Like Mercury rises 19th of February, potentially. And Saturn is disappearing from the sky on the 20th of February. Only a couple of days later, we have Mars turning. So this period between 19th and 24th of February is very intense, for good and bad. But because we have Saturn and Mars stations, well, let's just say probably it's best not to travel from the 19th till 25th of February, and to be aware that there can be challenging events in that time for the world, including all kinds of bad stuff that you can imagine, and on personal level also, because they rule Saturn and Mars, they rule certain places in the chart. Saturn especially disappearing means that some area of the chart will be weakened. This weakening will be happening till the end of April when he will be reappearing in the sky. Basically, as I have explained in past videos, when Saturn disappears means that there is no justice, there is no the highest value according to the ancients is justice.
Just
Each year Saturn disappears for some time. When he is not in the sky, he brings more insecurity in many things, and this is also on the property market. So this is the time when if you want to sell your house, you get the higher price, but if you want to buy, you have to pay more. Usually this is the meaning. So
when Saturn is invisible,
yes,
so it's good to sell but not to buy.
absolutely.
Okay. Till end of April.
Absolutely, till end of April. So, the ancient texts are saying that this disappearance of Saturn in this place in Aquarius will mean the demise, the death of some powerful woman or superior woman.
Why woman? Because it's in this area of the sky, it's connected to a woman.
Yes, well, they're not explaining why. They're not explaining why. Well, this must be related to some other stars that are outside of Aquarius.
Mm, mm.
But Aquarius usually is not related to kings, but it can be related to aristocrats and in general people high in society. I'm not sure, however, if it can be a royal person, but the way they express it says enough. Superior woman. So we'll see. Countries that can be affected, those related to Aquarius, in my opinion, are like Scandinavian countries, Ukraine, USA. These are some Aquarius-influenced countries. So it can be in some of them.
It's also Saturn is structures and institutions, dissolving of those, disappearing, isn't it? In some way as well. Oh, we lost Trifon. Trifon disappeared. Oh, you're back.
I'm here. I'm here. Okay. So, well, disappearance of Saturn is bad for those who have rising Saturnian sign. However, remember, it's something that happens each year, right? So
yeah,
it happens many times for everyone. This time, even as Saturn will be most of the time in Aquarius until 6th of April, actually. The ancients are saying when he is in his own sign, he is somewhat like protected from the invisibility. So not so bad, right? But after 6th of April, it can be worse. But those people who have rising sign Capricorn and Aquarius in sidereal signs and Aquarius and Pisces in Western astrology, in this period they can experience like worse condition or being not so effective. And in general, it can be said it's a transformative period for them. I saw some ancient texts saying that the invisible planet means that it is a big change and transformation going on in this period for the people ruled by this planet, and which is also logical. Definitely, this is a change of the condition of the planet. End of certain cycle, beginning of a new cycle later. So what Saturnian people need to know is that they will be starting anew and having better time in the end of April. But now better to take somehow better to themselves, to rest more, for example, this month. Or they will feel exhausted. Some of them can become even sick around that time. So all the Capricornians and Aquarians, watch out. Many other things are going on also. For example, there will be a full moon in the last degree of Cancer, and in astrology. And this is soon, right? And the full moon this month in this degree. So in ancient times, the degrees that are right between water and fire signs are considered to be like more deadly. And having a full moon there, I guess, can be dangerous to some parts of the world. Especially those who have the ascendant in the end of Cancer. Well, in Western astrology, this will translate like 24 Leo, 23, 24 Leo. So those will be like the most affected. The last degree of Cancer, however, there is also some stars of the Hydra there, which are usually triggering spiritual transformation. So I guess after the full moon, there will be 4 weeks of that are somehow better for spiritual practices. 12th of February is the full moon. It will have many positive effects also. For wherever you have Cancer sidereal in your chart, it will give you good results. I will give you a hint for those who want to play in casino or lottery. Of course, don't spend too much money, right? Small amount. So, whoever has Pisces rising in sidereal or Aries rising in Western astrology can use the days between 10 and 12th of February, especially the 12th, 11th also, and for being more fortunate in general, like for more risky actions, like in love or trying to gain. This is your time. Later, tell me the results in the comments, okay? So it will be interesting. Once I did this advice for friends without any who were without any money, and they gained something this day. So, of course, remember, it's a game. Don't risk too much. So here we have this position. Of course, the full moon in Cancer indicates that because of the connection with Hydra, it indicates, of course, struggle for power. It indicates the culmination of nationalistic feelings, because the sign Cancer is about nations in this period. But again, this is something that happens each year. This kind of full moon, I mean, right? In the light of the recent events, however, it can be important. I will give you also some advices for special days. But before that, let's comment also about the rising of Mercury. And I forgot one of the meanings to mention about Jupiter, talking too much about Jupiter, and I forgot to say what is the ancient meaning. The ancient meaning about Jupiter, who is right now, this meaning is already valid since 3rd of February. And it means that it prepares plots against the king. Plots against the king are going on right now. Of course, the king can be many persons, right? People with immense power are trying to have in such countries that are under such type of rulerships or in danger to become such countries. So literally everywhere this can happen, like Russia, China, USA, you name it. So we have this position. It's already happening. Now about the rising of Mercury, 19th of February. The ancients are saying subversion. Subversion is a dangerous word, meaning that there will be some secret activity by secret services, etc., right? And also, they say rejection and refutation of certain arguments, which means obviously that there will be very strong and powerful disputes, but the reasoning for serious matters will be rejected, even though it can be true and important. Well, this will be also not a big surprise. But obviously it will be important for the world, and especially this month around 19th February. I think you can easily make your conclusions from this information. Also, around the time of the turning of Mars, 24th of February, if you remember, there will be a conjunction between Saturn and Mercury, 25th of February. This happened actually a year or two ago. I have some members. The Sun, Mercury, and Saturn were together, but they were exactly the three of them together. This time, I mean, exact conjunction they had, right? This time, Mercury and Saturn will be in exact conjunction 25th of February. The Sun will be somewhat close in the same sign. Last time when this happened, there was big communication issues for the world. Some of the cables providing internet for the world on the bottom of the oceans were, well, let's say there were big issues with them. And again, we can expect communication crisis and internet-related crisis around 25th of February. Of course, this means it's not the best time to travel. If you want to have interesting travel, go there in that time. You will remember it a long time, I think. I'm just saying. So, but better not to use those days. 24th, 25th are not good for traveling. The danger that I mentioned, that there can be even more crashes this year, one of the potential moments are those days. So now about the specific dates that are good or bad. Not everything, but some of the days that are important. Literally tomorrow, 6th of February, the moon will be with Jupiter in Taurus. Now the moon is exalted in Taurus. Jupiter is considered to be also mostly positive force. So what to say? Tomorrow, 6th of February, is a good day to start something new if you need to start it soon. It can be related even to personal life, but also to business. Tomorrow is a good day. The best day actually in the month, in many ways. Right after 9th of February, the moon will be with Mars, aspect by Saturn. This is a troublesome time. Do not use it for anything. It can be good or only for bad things. Finally, there will be the moon in Scorpio between 20th and 22nd of February. I already warned you about this time frame, 19th to, I can say, even 26th of February. Of course, the moon being debilitated, 20th to 22nd it makes it even worse that time. So it is good only if you want to make some destructive action. For example, if you want to finish with some bad habit, yeah, those days in 19th to 25th of February can be used for finishing things. Like if you want to stop smoking, for example. When the moon is in Scorpio, 20 to 22nd. It's one of the moments when you can use it. And finally, on the 27th of February, in the end of the month, the moon is setting, disappearing, and invisible until the 1st of March, literally the beginning of next month. Well, the invisible moon means that everyone will be tired, exhausted, not in so great shape, and in general, people will need rest. So I'm advising you accordingly not to start new things in the invisible moon time and to plan some more rest in that time. This will be the best course of action. If you plan something else, you may find yourself very exhausted, things not going well, the people being involved also very tired or not coming at all. So have this in mind. So obviously, the last 10, 11 days of February are more challenging than the rest. And with this, I intend to finish the information for today. Of course, there are many other things, but probably it's the best to stay with the most important.
Thank you very much, Trifon, for the very in-depth look at February and suggestions for all of us. Again, if anyone wants to contact Trifon, I'll put a link below. He's offering 30% discount on a yearly reading for the next 12 months. If you're interested through Sidereal astrology and ancient astrology method that he demonstrated perfectly in this video. Thank you, Trifon.
Thank you, everyone. Have a nice month and interesting for sure.